Welcome back to BTS Bros Talk Supercars. It's AJ and Curtis here, and we have got a spectacular video for you guys today. What is it, AJ?
I'm very excited about this. We are here at McLaren, if you don't recognise it. And one thing spinning behind me, it is 60 years of McLaren, so we have got stickers plastered everywhere. They have said it looks fantastic.
Look at it.
But it is honestly a spaceship here. We had the opportunity to drive around the front, which I thought only McLarens could do.
I know, I did sort of feel like Lando Norris was coming in, even though it was just...
I wasn't in a McLaren.
Pritchard coming in a Mercedes. If you can't say that word here, no words bar the words McLaren can be said in this building. Outside, we're all right, but as soon as we step through them doors, McLaren only.
So we're going to go into the MTC now, and we are just going to, well, be kids in candy shops. We are going to go in, have fun, look what we want, and really explore, and look at the Artura, because they are absolutely everywhere. The whole car park is full of McLaren Arturas everywhere. They're kind of pulling us into that we need to get one sort of feeling.
They sort of are, but they start from £181,000, AJ. I mean, they are quick.
Wait, let's see what we can get from them. Maybe Goodwood, go with McLaren.
Or maybe they could just gift us one for free.
For a couple of months, anyway. Come on, let's make a move.
Yeah. First of all, AJ, what does MTC stand for?
McLaren.
Yeah. Technology.
Centre.
Yeah.
You test me and hope that I fail, don't you? Every time.
Yes, I did.
One thing that I love, Curtis, is the correct height of people. Racing car drivers are good heights. See, you wouldn't even get into the car.
Well, no, you are a very perfect height compared to, who is this, AJ? It's the one and only Bruce McLaren, the man himself.
I know you want to talk about this.
Yeah, go on, I'll quickly throw it in. So we've got Bruce McLaren here, his dad, Les McLaren. They sort of started off the whole McLaren, well, you can sort of hear the name, it sort of gives it away a little bit. They started off all of this that's going on right now, and we have got the Austin 7 here. So this had a top speed of around about, well, it got up to 150 kilometers an hour from 110
and it's
kilometers
nuts.
an hour.
One thing we do have to say about this, McLaren itself, it's kind of, this is at the forefront, right at the beginning, as soon as you walk into the MTC here. And every single one of these cars is a Pedigree 1 car, meaning that, well, it actually runs and drives, doesn't it, Curtis?
And that is why you maybe just seen a little, I'm going to call it an oil drip tray on the floor, just keeping the floor clean, but we won't go into too much detail with it. But I love to see this car because look at it, it's so basic. It's the original one, the first ones that they built. Look at the front here, AJ. There isn't no, you're too hot, you're too cold. You've only got this one thing. It'll warm up and go to hot, and it'll cool down and go to cold.
So if you've got steam,
it's hot.
It's too hot.
If you don't, it's cold. It works perfectly. Bringing it around straight here. Look at the basic, the simplicity of it all. And I want to show you straight down the side where the wheels are here, AJ. You can see the marks of where, as it's been flying around corners, racing around the track, the chassis has all been moving ever so slightly. It's just rubbed on the sides.
One thing I love about this, obviously the story, the heritage of, he actually put some hay bales in a field, we found out, a figure of 8 to go around and race it. But one thing
so
you can see...
that was Les, AJ, so that was his dad, and then he said, I want to drive your car. So he allowed his son to drive it. He said, drive it sensibly and do not crash it. And I'm telling you this story because he didn't crash it. He did win the race and he brought it back in one piece, and that started off his racing career.
One reason why he was winning the races was because, look down here, he actually marked it so that he could get the optimum gear changes at when the engine needs to change gear for the amount of kind of speed.
Something so simple, but something that could take away the thought process, so you know exactly what needs to be done at the exact moment. AJ, there's so much to talk about here. We're getting caught up on one car. Let's move on. Guess whose bad boy this is? We've got Lando Norris's car right behind us, the one that he drove. Oh, it's incredible, but let me tell you a couple of little stats about this. Right, listen, in a rocket ship, AJ, taking off, you get about 4 Gs of force. In one of these bad boys, you're getting up to about 7 G's of force maximum around a corner on the straights.
That is crazy. I think
It's
one thing
phenomenal.
for me is the steering wheel. The amount of actual configurations of 350, like 400 configurations on that steering wheel. So you're flying around, you've got your helmet on, you are absolutely roasting. We'll talk about temperature in a second, but you've got obviously the halo system, which we all love for safety, but it takes a lot of view. Like, it takes up a lot of your perspective, and someone's trying to take you on the left and right, and your car is this wide, and just look at the size of them wheels. Stick your head next to that wheel, Kurt.
Look at this.
Like, the perspective.
Look
One
at
thing
it.
that I love about cars is I am all about the aero, but one bit of aerodynamics I've never noticed before is, like, on the inside of the wheel, you get these flicks here. I've never noticed that aero before.
Have you not, bringing it around to the back, AJ?
Okay,
the
yeah.
exact same aero, seeing all the flicks here at the back there, sucking the air through, pushing it out here. It's all the same. There is so much time and effort gone into the F1 cars. It's phenomenal. The whole thing, everywhere you
that's a
look,
good shot
AJ,
right there.
it's carbon fibre. Everything you see on it is money. Well, I don't want to say bar the underplate of an F1 car, which is made of a composite wood material. So yeah, you wouldn't believe it. Everything on this car is so high end, by the underplate, which is made from wood. A piece of wood.
Oh, we'll come back to that temperature, because you said it gets to about 90 degrees C in there, and then if you're doing like Bahrain, it's like 120.
It gets to 90 degrees in humidity, and it gets to about 55 degrees C in just heat of just sat there when it isn't in the humid countries and
I
stuff.
mean,
so, yeah.
Curtis, there'd be half of you when you walked out the car.
I know, I wouldn't be able to fit in them. I just look at the design on these, so they're so different. We've just gone from the original to basically the brand new. If you're seeing the size of it, you are sat here. Your legs and feet are literally going to be here in the car, controlling it. You're sat right on the front, ready to rock and roll. How much? About
Priceless.
50 million per car. Possibly upwards.
Okay, let's move on. Come on. Where are we going now? Yes, we need to talk about this car, because for me, you may know this, but I'm completely colourblind. So one thing that I love about this, the fact of the matter that Bruce, yes, papaya orange, papaya comes from Mexico, but Bruce from New Zealand, that's where there was a lot of the fruit. And for me, the best thing about this is that the reason for this choice was just to stand out, because it was black and white TV. So like me, my favourite colour is yellow, because I can't see many other colours. And the one thing about this was being really smart and really educational about saying black and white TV. Let's get the brightest colour, let's put it out there and make it happen. Yes, when the sponsors came in later in the year, we had to change colour for McLaren, but at the beginning, what a reason. I love it. The Canadian series here.
Now, there's something interesting about this. So they didn't have a size limit on the engine. They had a starting limit. They had a starting limit of 3.7 litres. This bad boy, guess how much it is? Write in the comments right now. This is an 8.7 litre. They tested this here at McLaren a couple of years ago. I'm going to say about 7-8 years ago. And it actually blew the lights with how powerful the engine is. And ever since then, the whole car industry has now put a limit on the engines, and now they're all turning electric. It's all because of this car. That fact at the end may not be 100% true, so ignore that, but...
But it sounded good and we like it.
I love about this car how it's just so smooth, the aerodynamics, and it sort of looks like it just gets sucked in here. It's going to get blown out the back here. Now it looks like there's 2 seats in here, but one is just for the fire extinguisher, and then you've got the driver's seat here as well. But there is one other thing which is sort of bone chilling about this car. This is the sister car of what unfortunately the great Mr. McLaren passed away on the Goodwood circuit, and this is the sister car to that. And sort of hearing that story, it gives me a little bit of goosebumps just knowing that this is what was happening. And I'll give you a quick insight on what happened. I think a spoiler came off when he was racing, and unfortunately he spun, he hit the pole, and he passed away instantly there and then. So that was a big day for McLaren and the future of McLaren. And the amazing thing is they're still here today, so many years on from that. They never thought what was going to happen, but they're still here, still fighting, still competing, and they're still one of the strongest teams in the F1 and the car industry circuit.
Here we have the M23. Now this was the Formula One race-winning car in 1974. I do love a couple of facts about this. Like it has to be, for me, the aerodynamics. I feel like at this point in time, like you can see like
Cooling brake system.
Obviously the front wing, and it's starting to get, that back wing is like, well, may as well be a plane.
But for you colourblind people out there, including AJ, this is a different colour car, and this is where they brought in their new sponsors, the new branding. So you had Marlboro and Texaco here, and these are the colours. Now, it isn't the exact colour, actually, when you see this, but how they created it was, back in the day, obviously the Colourvision TV, they weren't as good as they are now. So basically, they created it so it looked like the correct colour on TV. So
yeah, so it doesn't look real here, but on a normal TV back then,
it would have looked perfect. But you know, this is where they've started to really get into that aerodynamic shape and started to learn a lot about the F1 and getting the cars faster and more grounded. As you can see, it's like that paper aeroplane design.
But one fact I found a bit weird, Curtis, like obviously it's Texaco here, but you maybe think we just said Marlboro, and you're like, where's Marlboro? Where is it?
Well,
but then, 4 or 5 years ago, McLaren made a decision to be at the forefront of change and remove it due to obviously lots of tours with kids and different commercial values walking through the boulevard itself.
And we've got the last, can't even say the word, the last remembrance. Rewind. We've got the last part.
What are you trying to say?
The bird.
Oh, you mean it's sliding away? It's literally nearly gone.
Yeah, so it literally is. I think this is the last one that they actually have that on. It's sort of, they had it on from their original cars from the start. It was sort of there. I'm going to call it a mascot figure for the cars. But they slowly removed it, which is sad to say.
I wonder why, Curtis, because it looks so great here.
No, but AJ, it used to be like this big, and it used to be in more proportion, and they've sort of stretched it off, ready for it to go ping. See you later.
Let's move on, even though I do love this car. So rich in history. Here we have the McLaren F1 XP5 in all of its beauty.
Top speed 240 miles an hour, naturally aspirated V12 engine, actually still holds the record for the fastest naturally aspirated V12 engine out there at the moment. Quickly, AJ, have a look at this, which I've only just noticed actually. Look at, I love how they
What was
put,
it with you?
Well, no, I love how they
wipers.
put so many like design features and stuff, because a window wiper could have hours and hours and hours and hundreds of thousands of pounds spent on it, and this will have had that done, because look at that thing right there.
I think
Bit of
more
extra
importantly
aerodynamics.
than your window wiper, we actually are allowed to, well, open the car, which is just here.
Take a look inside, take them in, AJ. Take them on a little tour of this three-seater absolute beauty. Now, it wasn't 100%, let's say, built for racing, but obviously the clientele that bought the car wanted it for racing races. Now, this car actually has a modem in it. Now, basically what this is, they didn't really have a lot of garages where you could take
well,
this
they didn't
car
have
to.
dealerships, did they? So you literally bought the car, then you got sent a laptop, and then
Well,
with
you didn't
the
get sent a laptop. Normally, if you could have this car, you would have a laptop. So you could connect it to it, and then it'll tell you what's wrong with the car. You would send it off to McLaren. McLaren would bring its F1 pit team to you, pretty much, not an F1 pit team, but they'd bring their pit crew to you, sort your car out, fix it all, get it sorted, off you go. Simplicity is key.
This is one of 109 only made. Oh
No, not anymore, AJ. I think Rowan Atkinson wrote 2 off. So.
No, he wrote the same one twice off.
So yeah, it's now, and it's actually one of 106, not 109.
Oh,
I think.
oh.
Right in the comments, who's correct, AJ or Curtis?
I know you're correct. That's what's annoying.
I think
You've got me.
But bring it back, AJ. Bring it to the back. Bring it to the back quickly around here, just before. Because I want to show you just the quad exhaust system. It's just a beast. Simple, easy. And you're going to see the difference between some of the modern cars like the Tourer that we may see later on and things like this. How all of the aerodynamics just increases as we go along the cars.
Come on, close that door. Wait, It's a bit. It's like a double push. Be careful. It was bought for 500 grand, Curtis, but now this is probably about 25 million. Just so you know.
Somebody else want to close this door then?
No, you got to push. Get a solid push.
What?
Like
just a harder?
No. Just like a. Yeah. Whew. I wasn't sure, to. She's sweating.
She's sweating.
Let's move on.
So this bad boy, pretty much the exact same car on steroids. We've lightened the weight. There's more power, there's more everything, it's more ferocious, and look at the colour, it's back in that papaya orange, which we all love and we know McLaren for. So there is only actually 6 of these ones, because the people that in the 1955 Le Mans came 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 5th. Don't hold me to that, I think I'm correct, and then they made one for all of them, basically.
Oh, Curtis, come look at the exhaust, the way they drop down. Look at the back here.
Oh my gosh, this is what I love about cars. Look at this. And you're going to miss
crazy.
things like this. See the gold tape underneath as well. That there, AJ, that is a childhood dream.
That's sick.
That dark, engrossed, grungy, oily, amazing, meaty place. The rear end of a hardcore McLaren.
That's a sick shot.
I don't think you'd normally say them words together, but...
Here we have the McLaren 12C, and for me this is kind of like, the second car to have that hybrid engine, obviously with that V8, and it was so forward thinking, so ahead of its time. But we do have to move to this second car here. We have the McLaren P1, and this is the one on that episode of Top Gear when we remember at Spa, and it was the Holy Trinity coming together. So this is a very special car because A, the colour, it is a very unique colour, plus you can see so much exposed carbon. If you come down here, Curtis, come down to the front, the carbon, the weave, the beauty of this car, and actually one thing, the interior, the Alcantara in the lighter colour, which I do love it when you have a lighter colour on the inside. Come around to the rear, because when you come into this rear wing, Curtis, look at the aero in here, and there is that rear wing that we'll film over there that has the Union Jack on it, but actually seeing how low scoop that is in reality, with it being right flat down, is unbelievable. You can see the aero coming down. Come down here. Look at it. Look how much space there is here. It's outrageous. And then we've got to come to one of my favourite cars right now, the 765 LT in fully exposed carbon. I mean, this is a work of art. There is just V8 4 litre track, and with personal favourite. I know some people aren't about roof scoop. Roof scoop for me is everything. Like, if you're going to do it, you go all out and you make that happen.
What I am looking at right now is top secret, unspeakable information.
This video is powered by Food Heaven. It's all plant-based foods. Go try it out.